I was going to kind of ask a little bit more, just maybe things to consider if, let's say, I were to visit someone that was from like a small reservation or something like that. Like, what would I expect to see?
Um,
Um,
To see or to experience?
to experience, rather.
I think my wife would agree, for the most part, all of the tribes are friendly. You know, they're some of the sweetest people you'll ever meet in your life. Now, when you get deep into some of the reservations where they're 100 miles away from the nearest town, like in North Dakota, you get some of this pushback because they are the deeper into the reservation, the more traditional they tend to be. But going on the average Indian reservation, they're very cordial, very sweet people.
Is there anything that someone that isn't familiar would have to consider not to offend them or not to have a misunderstanding because of that cultural difference, for example? Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
I don't understand the question.
Well, she said that what would a person need to be very careful of not to offend a Native American person if they go on a reservation?
Wow, it's been a long time. I don't know.
A lot of
I'm more civil than most, I guess.
a lot of the jokes that people tell, you know, are offensive. You know what I'm saying? We laugh at them, and a lot of Native people will laugh at it too, like Tonto jokes and stuff like this here in Lone Ranger and all that. A lot of them will laugh at that too, you know. But there's some that don't want to go there, you know, and so you need to be sensitive to just treat. You know, I think the biggest thing is we got to remember these are not Native American people; they're human beings, and everybody responds to love. And if we'll treat people all alike without looking at their facial differences and just talk to the person on the inside, I think that is the greatest thing we can do, not to offend anyone.
Do they usually, or I guess, what about like certain traditions that that maybe are very important that I would not know about or Austin would not know about that are maybe religious traditions or something like that that you could tell us about that are maybe like, for example, here we'll have, or I'm just thinking, different holidays that maybe people practice that maybe we don't know about to consider. Maybe they take time off from school or time off for work for that or something like that. I don't know.
You know, some of the holidays we talk about, some natives consider Christopher Columbus to be a criminal.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying? And so, and some of these people that are glamorized, like George Custer, as being a hero, he was no hero.
Oh, wow.
He was no hero in the eyes of the Native American people. And so some of these things are a little different. Thanksgiving is celebrated in a little different way. But like on my wife's reservation, reason why I say that I think they're so the most balanced is that they make no difference. I mean, you can sit down with the average Navajo that I've met, and you wouldn't even know they were Native because they're just they have assimilated so much that there's no problem. But there is such a thing called the Native American Church, and that is where the witchcraft is at. They worship the earth, and they'll get in a hogan which is a round building, and they'll sit shoulder to shoulder in this building, and they will get in there and they will place a Bible right in the middle of all of these people. And then they'll start smoking peyote, marijuana, all kinds of things. And they will hallucinate and have a spiritual encounter with the great Creator. And so they learn how to marry the Bible along with the Christianity, along with the traditional things the witch doctor, not the witch doctor, but the medicine man and the shaman would bring into the scope of things. So some of these tribes have married Christianity and this, and others simply stay to the Native American tradition, which is to get high and to hallucinate, have a spiritual encounter. So basically what they're doing is they're creating what you and I experience when we go to church. They don't understand that they don't have to smoke something to have a high in Christ and so, or in God. And so that is one thing right there. And it's like coyote skins and all the, what's some of the things that are the owls and all this stuff like that.
Well, I know that a lot of the natives are very superstitious about a lot of things. I mean, if they say sometimes, so, I mean, they come up with the most things that are just kind of like out there, you know, like, okay, but they do like, like that's where all the powwows and stuff like that, are that they have. Those are spiritual things that they do, and they have these little they call them song and dances, and those are spiritual things that they do that pertains to their what they believe. So they do like every year they have these, you hear about these, like the fairs that they have, the big, the carnivals and all that. So when they have all that, there's some things going on outside of that, like they have their peyote meetings and they have their traditional ceremonials done and stuff like that. Sometimes they have these ceremonials where they it goes from dusk to morning sunrise, and a lot of stuff like that. But a lot of that is a lot to me. Growing around that, I've learned that it's has nothing to do with the God that we serve.
Right.
It's they worship the creation, not the Creator.
Right.
So they bring in, like my husband said, peyote. Peyote it's like a herbal root of some, I don't know, I've seen it, but I don't know, I've never went to go dig it up somewhere. They travel far to go find it, and they dig it up and they smoke it, or they drink it, or they cook it, or whatever they want to do with it. And it's kind of like marijuana to me, I mean, just by watching them drink it and smoke it, it's like a marijuana type thing. It relaxes them, and they say that's a special piece of I don't know how would you call it, a herbal, I don't know how to explain it, but they use it during those ceremonial times. They do it for healing and stuff like that, but I don't know.
But being raised in an alcoholic home myself when I was a boy, I think you could sum it all up. It's a good excuse to get high. It's party time, and they will hallucinate, and they will feel like the feelings that they're feeling are God. God is speaking to them. Just like in the Cherokee, you go back to the Eastern Band of the Cherokee on Talking, there's a place called Talking Rock. And they believe when they go and there's this river there, and as the water flows across the rocks, if you listen closely, you can hear the Great Spirit speaking to you. And they feel like they're getting instruction or comfort from the Great Spirit. And so the thunder, the rain, the lightning, all these things, they read spiritual connotations into some of these things. And I think it really points to the fact that they're starved to death for a real encounter with the great Creator. They just don't know where to find it. They don't know where to look for it. But here's the problem. They don't know who they can trust to bring it to them. And so that's why it's always been said, you've got to win someone to yourself before you win them to Christ. So much more with the Native American people. You have got to win their confidence. You've got to win their trust. And then they'll listen to anything you say. And they'll be your friend for the rest of your life. But until you get to that place with them, there's going to be limitations.
Mhm.